On the front end, I just want to say that having a cool classroom is not essential when wanting to become a great teacher. But having a space that looks like somewhere students might want to be is something that I like to do and that I have the skill set to do. So this video I actually made in the beginning of last school year, so the beginning of the 2021-2022 school year. I wildly underestimated the time that I had in the beginning of the year, or I think I kind of forgot what it was like to be back in school. I'd been out teaching virtually for a year and a half at that point, so this was the first time in a year and a half that I'd even been back into my classroom. I ended up making a lot of changes in my classroom last year, and some of those videos will come out later this year. However, this is just a really great snapshot of what it was like to go back into my classroom, and I think there's still a lot of really great tips and value that you'll take from this. So before we jump into it, if you have added something amazing to your classroom, your cart, your office, please consider sharing that with us. We'd love to see your pictures. So to do that, you can show us what you've been up to by going right over to our Facebook group, Real Rap With Reynolds Teacher Talk, and you can post all of your pictures and explanations there. And if that feels like something that's a little bit different for you, or I don't know if I want to post it online, it's a closed group, it's only teachers. And remember, your ordinary is someone else's extraordinary. You might post something that blows someone's mind and then they just want to go do it to their own room. And with that, here is my beginning of the year classroom setup. We're back at school. It's the first day of PD. My room is a disaster area, which I said in the last video. And there's even more stuff in here now because I had to bring my things up. A lot of stuff is wacky. So apparently the school paid for a moving company to take everything out of the school so the school could get sanitized, and then not everything made it back. So I got to send that email today. There's a couple of things when you're setting up your classroom for the year, and I've said this before in other videos, but the first thing is to get rid of everything that's not yours. And secret tip, so no one has set up their classroom on my floor yet. So I have all these mixed match desks. So I go into the other rooms, I get the desks that I want, which I actually take these smaller desks. I don't take the nice big fancy desks. There's not enough room really for them. So I go switch out all the desks that I want. I make sure that I get things that I need, that I find around, that I know don't belong to anyone.
Oh, very nice. That's a savvy vet move.
And if someone left last year, I feel like it's fair game. I can go into their room. So if I want an extra trash can, because I like to have two, one in the front, one in the back, so no one has to walk across the room to throw out trash, let's go take stuff. So step one, getting rid of everything out of my room that doesn't belong here. Whew, all right, sweaty now. I got all of my desks in. We have to keep rows this year. It's a school policy because of COVID. A desk in the front, stand-up desks in the back. And then I'm really trying to make a concerted effort to leave on time every day. So I'm actually 24 minutes later than I wanted to be here. But just because I haven't seen my kids all day, and I've been seeing them for a year and a half since I've been teaching from home. So tomorrow I'll come in and start organizing all of this stuff back here, start getting things on the shelves, and unpacking and then cleaning everything that's in here too. So that will take place tomorrow. The next thing you want to do is make sure that you put things in a place where you know that they go. So this is a part where I'm really glad that I've been posting on Instagram for years, because I couldn't remember the order of all of these posters that go up here. So I have to literally keep going on Instagram and see where stuff goes. Same thing happened with all the boxes back here. I forget where some of them go. I forget where some of them are. I forget what I do. So it's getting rid of all the stuff and then just putting things in place when you know exactly where they're supposed to go, and then deal with all the other stuff later. So I have piles of extra supplies that I have, stuff that I know is gonna have to go up on the wall over here, and I just don't have the time to do that yet. Things on my desk, there's all the things are going back in these drawers where they belong, but there's a bunch of other stuff back here that I don't know where that goes. So it's just sitting there for a moment, but it's all in one place. This is all the I don't know where it goes stuff. Then there's the all the crap that goes either out in the trash or that somebody else could use. This is stuff that's somebody else's stuff that I need to just get to their room, and I don't know why it's in here to begin with. So that is how I'm sort of rigging the game to do little things at a time. And when I know where they go, I do it. And it's not even getting more organized, it's feeling more organized. So I'm gonna keep putting things where they go. So I was making that video and then it stopped because things got too busy. Some of you will know this, that like your room becomes like the hub. So everybody that's hanging out, whether it's students or it's staff, they all come to like one place to hang out all the time, and that is constantly my room. And although I love it, it stops me from being able to like film a lot of times and do other stuff. So what I thought I'd do is, today was the actual first day of school, make a separate video about that, but just kind of where I got to in terms of my classroom and how I was able to create the space that I've created so far, because it is far from perfect.
I mean, there's no such thing as perfect.
It still looks good, but I want to walk you through like what I got ready for the first day to make sure that it was the best that it could be for students. So let's start there. So the first thing I'm looking for, like I said earlier, is to make sure all surfaces are cleared. Like, so there's nothing on a surface that doesn't live there permanently. You can stash stuff, you can hide it, you can put it somewhere else if you want, but it is about creating spaces that look and appear neat and clean. I think that does something to the students' mindsets when they come in the room, and it also does something for my mindset that I don't see a mess all over the place. The other thing is making sure that like your desks are in a certain position, that your board is a certain way. And when we're doing things like of that nature, what we're doing is, again, we're creating this place that seems like it's gonna be consistent, like there's some level of like, there's like a lack of madness to it. So that helps as well. I also have all of the desks are in order, and I only have as many desks as students that I will have in my largest class. And so I share my room. There's one other person that teaches in here during the first period of the day, and then it's just me for the rest of the day. But even for her class, I want to make sure that I have enough desks for her class. I eliminate all the other ones so that I don't have kids that like want to sit somewhere else or can sit somewhere else. That's not even an option or a conversation, because there's only enough desks for my largest class. Even at the stand-up tables in the back here, I have stand-up desks for kids that have a hard time sitting down, or for kids that are like, these are one-piece desks, so you get some pretty big boys in there sometimes, and they have trouble being comfortable in class. So I created an alternate seating option for them, but there's only one stool right now behind both of them. I have other stools, but I keep them somewhere else in the school if I need them for a group project or something. But then I don't have people vying over it. There's not two people trying to sit back there at the same time, because there's only one seat available for them anyway. Now there's tons of other stuff that is still just laying around in my room. Like I have a whole pile of things here. There's stuff on the other side of this mini fridge that I have. There's stuff shoved back in the corner.
Sometimes there's stuff, the other stuff, under stuff.
And these are all things that like need to get hung up on my wall, or I have to figure out somewhere for them. When you have that, the idea for me is to just keep them somewhere that it's neat-ish, so that, again, it takes away from that madness feeling in your classroom and gives you somewhere to just have it. And look, that can stress people out when your classroom isn't perfect at the beginning of the year. But I think that there's something to your classroom being this ever-evolving space that as you're moving through the year, it's constantly like getting tweaked and there's something happening to it. It's just about being ready for the first day of school so that students can come in and have the best experience possible. So what do I mean by like messes still happening? I'm gonna show you some of this stuff because I don't wanna be like Pinterest perfect and then like people look at my room and they think like, oh no, it looks all perfect and great. But here are some of the things that are not good enough in my classroom that I'm gonna show you those now. There's a bunch of stuff here. There's a bunch of stuff on top of this that I don't want there. There are things on the back window sill that I don't want there either. There is this really gnarly toolbox back here, right here that, I mean, look at the top of this thing. That is disgusting, but it's okay. Like I don't need it to be perfect right now. It's been cleaned out. It has the stuff in it that I needed to be in it. There are other things I want to change, like now that I have this giant new board up here, this giant Samsung board being in the way, which I have a video for. I'll put the link in the description below in case you're interested. But it's very cool, but it's 85 inches, which is enormous. And what I had up there before was a different board that was mounted to the wall. So I need to create a space for this that's gonna let it work, because right now I have all these bookshelves behind it, and those books are not really accessible to students unless they go behind the board, and I don't wanna make that a thing. So I'm gonna probably remove those bookshelves, put them somewhere else in the room, and then have the board be able to be housed against the wall. I can pull it out when I need to. It's cool, but it's just another thing, that you have to do. The other thing I'm not really ready for is when we left school in March of 2020, we were reading Lord of the Flies. And so Lord of the Flies is still up here. I wanted to have this wall recreated and either have some sort of back to school message on it, or we're gonna jump right into ghost stories and then the Odyssey. And I wanted it to reflect that as well, but it's just not there yet. And it still looks nice. It's not what we're doing in class. The students don't realize that this wall, my dream for this wall during the year is to have it transform for every book that we're reading, so that it's constantly this growing process and it's something new. And when we start a new book, there's new art up there, but I just haven't got to that yet either. Other thing I'm dealing with is somehow these lights burn out up here, so I gotta fix those. So this is usually illuminated behind the city skyline here. That's not done. And then a bunch of these got broken over the summer. I'm not sure what happened, but there's books holding some of the shelves up. Some of the shelves are just really loose. It sounded tricky. So those have to be fixed. My tree was broken over the summer. So whole parts of this tree are not attached. Now look, it's knocking over my books, because when they had to remove everything from my room to put the rugs in, the tree got damaged. So again, it's not a big deal. No one knows that it's like that except for you, and you just saw me knock over those books, which you got to go fix later. But it is stuff that is good enough for the moment, because there were a lot of things to get done. The idea is this: when we're dealing with so much newness in the beginning of the year, when there's so much to be done, there's one thing that you just really need to make sure that you remember. As an educator, there's always going to be ongoing work. It's never ending. You never get to the finish line. It is a constant journey. And the day that it ends, probably the day that you retired, unless you just gave up on teaching, in which case you wouldn't be watching this channel right now. Shut up! But knowing that there's always ongoing work, it helps you to realize and prioritize what needs to actually be done now. So I will say this, and I'll say it on the internet, maybe someone watches this and I get told about it, but I don't really care. There are a ton of new things that have been implemented this year. There is a new principal, there's a new vice principal, there's a new CEO, there's a new head of special education, there's a third of our teachers are brand new in our school, and we are still short teachers. We still need teachers for the beginning of the year. So that being said, there's so much stuff that I've been asked to do this year that could literally fill all of my waking hours. I just choose not to do them. Does it mean I'm not going to do all of it? Maybe some of it I don't do, but to be honest, most of it I will, but it's just not going to happen in the time frame in which I was given, because it's unrealistic. So what I'm doing is I am creating a to-do list every day of 2 or 3 things at most that I need to get done in school, and then that's what I focus on. So seating chart being handed in, going here, and lesson plans being handed in, going here, and emergency lesson plans, and all of the other stuff that is required of us this year. I'm just choosing to not sweat it, to not get all frustrated about it, to not think that I'm gonna lose my job, because I'm not trying to get away with something. What I'm doing is putting kids first, creating a space that I can function in, that the kids can function in, and then I'll get to all that other stuff. So I think that's just a good thing to remember. And look, even those of us on the internet, we are not, your room isn't perfect, your classes aren't perfect. Today certainly wasn't perfect, and I can talk about that next time. There's a lot going on, but it's just creating these little tiny changes have a really big impact sometimes when we sort of rig the game to win, where we make our goals not so crazy. It's small things done over a long time really can have a really deep impact on your teaching career, on your life in general. But that's what I wanted to share with you. Look, if you need anything else, You can stop by Sunday Night Teacher Talk every Sunday. We go live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time and answer all of your teacher questions, or anything else you can just check out right at realrapwithreynolds.com, and we can help you with anything else there. If this was helpful to you, please share it with someone else, and don't forget to subscribe, hit the little bell so you get the notifications, and that's it, gang. I hope you have a really wonderful week, and peace.